Why is receiving the missing link to wealth, success, fulfillment? If we are not able to receive compliments, to receive love, to receive money, to receive support, to receive gifts, to receive favors, we kind of cringe, we kind of fake our way through it, through your subconscious and maybe even through your conscious mind. This doesn't feel good to me. This doesn't feel safe. And it comes from being wounded in that area. If you grew up how I did in a highly abusive household with a narcissistic parent, there was always a catch when it came to receiving. I couldn't fully trust receiving. When people would be really nice to me, compliments, gifts, I was taught that at some point I'm going to have to pay the piper for that love. And I did over and over and over again. Did you know that 80% of people struggle with receiving, whether it's money, support, or love? And this energetic block can be a major barrier to success. In today's episode, which is part one of a two-part series all about receiving, we're going to shatter the misconception that abundance comes from only doing more, hustling harder, achieving more, being more. Instead, it all starts with your ability to receive. So what if I told you that the key to unlocking unlimited wealth, client success, and personal growth is rooted in how much you allow into your life? In this first part of our series, we're going to unpack why your capacity to receive directly influences everything from your bank account to your relationships, and why most of us don't even know we're blocking it. Don't you want to expand your ability to receive and open the floodgates to wealth and success? Let's dive into the energy of receiving and discover why it's not about doing more, but about being open to more. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationships, your abundance, and everything in between. Let's start out by cutting some serious fluff. Most business trainings are a waste of time, and you leave with pages of notes and zero idea of how to actually implement the information that you just took in, leaving you more confused and more overwhelmed than ever. That is why my world famous, no BS free live training series, 3 Days to Make Bank Online, has had thousands and thousands of people sign up because they know I serve it to you straight. In fact, you don't need more information. You need to know how to implement specific and strategic information that's actually going to move the needle in your business, meaning getting cash and clients flowing. Okay. So day one, we're going to show you how to stand out so your ideal client thinks of you first every time. Day two, why your content isn't selling for you and how to flip the switch so it works for you around the clock, like your content acts as little salespeople all through the night. And day three, if you're sick of hearing excuses from people instead of people being excited to buy from you, like, I can't afford it, I have to ask my husband, I don't have the time, I will teach you how to handle these objections without sounding desperate or acting pushy or sleazy, and certainly without you having to drop your prices. It's only a week away. We're almost at max capacity because this is a live training. So go pause this, sign up at projectmewithttiffany.com/makebank. You can swipe up the direct link to register is in the show notes. It's also here in the description on ProjectME TV on YouTube. If you want a jumpstart and a surge in sales very quickly, this is your move to go to this training. I only do it once a year. Why do I offer it for free where I'm giving $25,000 of value? It's my way of giving back to my fellow small business owners and building good faith and community with you guys and inviting more people into our special ProjectME Posse space. I came up with the Receiving Experience series because after I have spoken to countless people from all different backgrounds, people who are in my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership, private clients, friends of friends, total strangers, I noticed that the common denominator of what is blocking people from having the success that they want in their lives, both personally and professionally, all ends up being tied to their relationship to receiving. And it runs really deep, and it it runs subconsciously as well. You don't always realize that this is a background virus, just like it happens in a computer. It can happen on your phone. It can happen with an app. It can even happen in your car. And it's running. A worm has gotten in there into your operating system, and it could have been in there since childhood. It could have been in there since like your last bad relationship. It could have been in there from a series of events that has happened recently that has completely taken you off track and shooketh you, and you have a damaged operating system. The great news is this is something that can be repaired. It's not overnight, but if you leave it unrepaired and if you try to ignore it, it comes at the biggest cost of anything in your life. So first order of business is being humbly committed to doing this work in repairing yourself back to a state of abundant receiving and acknowledging that somehow a virus got in there, somehow things got off track, and give yourself grace for that. Because when you start learning what I'm teaching you in this 2-part series, you might get annoyed with yourself. Like, how didn't I see that? How didn't I know that? Why didn't I hear an episode like this years ago? This would have saved me so much time, energy, money, and heartache. Because you're hearing it now because you were ready. You were primed for it. You're able to take in the information. You're going to be able to actually implement it and just trust in the divine timing of it all. Why is receiving the missing link to wealth, success, fulfillment? If we are not able to receive compliments, to receive love, to receive money, to receive support, to receive gifts, to receive favors, to receive praise, if we are uncomfortable with receiving it, we kind of cringe, we kind of fake our way through it, or we even push against it. We're overly self-reliant. We're overly self-sufficient. We want to do everything ourselves. We don't really allow people to give to us. Why would the universe then, why would God, spirit, angels, whatever you believe in, end up giving to you when you have an energetic block around it? When you are saying through your subconscious and maybe even through your conscious mind, this doesn't feel good to me. This doesn't feel safe. Go away. I don't want it. I'll do it myself. And it comes from being wounded in that area. If you grew up how I did in a highly abusive household with a narcissistic parent, there was always a catch when it came to receiving. I couldn't fully trust receiving. You know, it was like being abused and being sex trafficked. When people would be really nice to me, compliments, gifts, wanting to spend a lot of time with me, I was taught that at some point, I'm going to have to pay the piper for that love, for that affection, for that attention. And I did over and over and over again. So that set this imprint, that set the bug in the software, the worm in the system right off the bat that, yeah, you can't really trust good things, good people, abundance, things happening for you, because there's a catch. You're going to have to pay a price that you're not going to want to pay in order to get it. You're going to have to make a trade. You're going to have to make some kind of a sacrifice. So in self-protection, it's easier than to not accept it at all. But I want to give you grace, and I want you to give me grace when you're hearing that story. It makes sense why I became this overly self-sufficient person. I can do it. I don't need your help. Thanks, but no thanks. Even someone would give me a compliment and I would have some sort of self-deprecating thing I would say back. You know, they might say like, oh, you have beautiful eyes. I love your eyebrows. Yeah, if only my body was as banging as my brows. You know, I would then laugh it off. And that's a deflection. That's not truly receiving. Even when people would give me a gift, especially if it was well thought out and sentimental, it wasn't like someone was sending me like a cheese and cracker and wine basket, like in business, which by the way, feel free because I'm still into those baskets. But if someone gave me a necklace or even a beautiful card, or they could have baked me something and I knew that it was like a labor of love, I was polite enough to graciously accept it, but I would be cringing inside. I could feel my muscles contract contracting, my throat constricting. So I would make sure I went through the motions and did, the special graces of society because I know that's the right thing to do. But it always made me uncomfortable. I'll never forget, I had a friend that was a coworker of mine, like one of my favorite coworkers when I was in corporate, and she loved baking stuff and I love brownies. I haven't had a brownie in a long time, specifically brownies with walnuts in them. And she made me a whole tray of them and she dropped it off at my house knowing I was going to get it when I got back from being in the field because I was in outdoor sales. And she let me know it was there and it was in a glass kind of like Pyrex type container, wasn't a disposable container. And even though I was delighted to have brownies, my next immediate thought was, oh no. Now I have the dish and I have to make sure I clean the dish. I'm going to have to make sure I get this dish back to her. I'm going to have to make sure I don't break the dish and then remember to even bring the dish. And then it became heavy. It didn't feel good to me. Flash forward, I had a friend who is no longer in my life for many reasons. And I think this story will be very telling and helpful for you and validating in a lot of different ways and layers, where she was very clear, do not get me anything for my birthday. I don't want a card. I don't want a shirt. I don't want a piece of jewelry. I don't want dinner. I want nothing. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to have to owe anyone anything. And it was like, whoa, okay. Now, on one hand, I appreciated that she was sharing her boundary and her needs and her likes and dislikes. And of course, I was going to respect that. And it also kind of was like, okay, well, it takes the pressure off of me trying to like figure out, a thoughtful gift to give this person that I care about. But it also didn't feel good to me either. Like, I can't even write you a card. I can't even like do something that's free out of my heart to be able to give that love and pay that love and appreciation forward. I felt like something was taken from me, but of course I was going to respect that. And when I reflect back on that relationship, this person was so wounded from childhood and hadn't yet done the work, even though I think she thought she had done it, to where she made sure, and if you're watching on ProjectME TV on YouTube, you'll see what I'm doing with my hand. Like, you could only get so close to her. You're at an arm's length. Don't show me how much you love me. I only want love to this extent. So when I think back to her business and her bank account, she only received money to a certain extent and had a lot of debt. And she had this barrier of true, genuine abundance, and all of her time was traded for money. There was no abundance truly coming in with ease. Why would there be? She didn't even allow love in, even from safe people. She didn't even allow a gesture of appreciation from people. If she got one, immediately she would scoff at it. I wish you didn't give this to me. I don't want the responsibility of this. Even though I understand where that wounding came from doing all of my own inner child work and 5,000 years of therapy, it still made it clear to me energetically, you cannot get too close to me. I will bite you. So don't get too close. Therefore, I didn't. Therefore, no one did, because no one could. But that is the very thing that she wanted and couldn't figure out why it wasn't happening in a love life, in friendship life, even monetarily. And it's so interesting and dynamic how this happens. And I'm not saying this story to like shit on this person, but I think by me sharing stories of other people, you can recognize where you might be doing that within yourself. So if you're not allowing people in to help you, you are not hiring and investing in getting help in your business, whether it's hiring me as a coach at some level, it's bringing on a VA, it's hiring someone to help you clean your house, hiring movers instead of doing it yourself, you are blocking that money from coming into your life. You can't block one area and then not block other areas. You might think, oh, in the area of love, I'm good. It's money that's the issue, or vice versa. No, you're still blocking it. Just because you have wealth, that doesn't mean the wealth is coming in with ease or without strife and without stress. You could be at a whole different level of expansion when it comes to money when you work on this stuff. So I wanted to give you a base understanding of where this comes from. Every single client that I've ever worked with that is struggling in an area of their business, of scaling their business, of getting their business off the ground, that is really, really a headache for them. And they want to keep chewing on it that it's strategy. They want to keep saying it's because I don't have the right people helping me. They want to blame the economy. They want to even blame the type of clients. They want to blame the algorithm. You're not going to receive views on your videos. You're not going to receive shares. You're not going to receive people listening to your podcast if you are ultimately energetically stating, and again, this does not need to be conscious, it could be all subconscious, you saying to the universe, it's not safe for me to receive anymore, so don't give me anymore. Okay, it's not going to give you anymore. And I'm going to out myself. I recently realized, after assessing the medicine of the pain and things that have been going on, I went through about, like, it'd be fair to say, like a 5 to 6 month period of the shits, as I call it. And just FYI, to validate it for you, you can go through seasons of the shits. You're not alone in it. Just a lot of people aren't willing to talk about it, especially people who are public figures, people who you might listen to on podcasts, people who you admire, because they don't think it's flattering and they want you to just think it's all sunshine and rainbows. And no, it is not. We are having a human experience, and that's part of it. And you actually have to go through those seasons to wake you up to things. And one of the things that I realized is I was not allowing in top tier, dependable, trustworthy, reliable support into my business, and quite frankly, overall my life. So I had a particular area where I might be okay and feel good about receiving some things, but not everything. But there's a domino effect with that. Because I had this resistance to receiving this high level of support because I didn't believe it truly existed. I didn't fully trust it because I've had so many people betray me, use me, steal from me, go sideways on me in 17 years of having a business. It felt more vulnerable for me to still believe that these people exist, that it's possible to find them. So what felt safer to my nervous system subconsciously was just putting my hand up and going, I don't have the support. The support isn't here. I guess I'm going to have to do it alone. This sucks. This sucks. Well, I keep reinforcing that. I'm only going to continue to attract that. And I was preventing myself, literally blocking myself from reaching my next level of exposure, visibility, expansion, profitability in my business, with my podcast, with my various offers, with different press opportunities. I was blocking that all because of me feeling wounded and having this bug in my system around receiving. So I want you to ask yourself the question, whatever area of receiving, could be in all areas, that is clearly a glaring struggle for you right now. What would my life look like if I was receiving abundantly in this area? What would that look like? And I would like for you to speak it out loud if you're a verbal processor, or write it out if you're more of a writing processor. I speak it out because clearly we know I talk a lot and I like hearing myself speaking. There's some kind of magic that happens for me. What does that look like for me to receive the ultimate support in my business where I can trust it? People are excited to grow the business. They believe in the movement. They care about my people. They care about me. They have high integrity. They're not threatened by what I do. They don't want to be me. They don't end up self-sabotaging. What does that really feel like? What does that look like? And when I sat with that, I felt like all of my internal organs were twisting, because that's the thing that I need for me to go to the next level. That's like the missing puzzle piece. And then it goes, oh my God, what if I do have that? Then what? Then I will be going to the next level. Well, what does that that mean going to the next level? What's that going to require of me? Well, that is new territory. That's uncharted territory for us. That feels scary. So, of course, it comes back to fear. So maybe for you, it has something to do with attracting clients and cash consistently with ease. This is what I'm teaching you for free in my live training series, 3 Days to Make Bank Online. That is in 1 week. I only do it once a year. So do not miss this. You can go and register at projectmewithtiffany.com/make bank. Swipe up. It's in the show notes in the description here on Project Me TV on YouTube. Share it with other people who you know are wanting to monetize their gifts, skills, passions, and talents online. You're wanting to generate leads and sales for any type of business, leveraging the online space. I don't just mean social media. I am referring to emails. I'm referring to websites. I'm referring to live trainings. I'm referring to any form of digital marketing. Our ability to be able to access millions, really tens of millions of people as just an individual, our ability to do that, to touch those lives without having to even pay for it is remarkable. This is the easiest and best time in history to be able to make a fortune in any industry, and to not take advantage of this right now, especially when I am teaching it to you for free and giving you that jumpstart, you are insane and you are resisting receiving. It'd be very interesting to note if you do not prioritize showing up live for those 3 days. I understand some of you have jobby jobs that there's nothing you can do about it, or you're in a time zone that's crazy. It's like 3 a.m, although I have had many people set an alarm for this, which I mad respect. I am giving replay access for 48 hours for each of the days, but not prioritizing showing up live or making sure you're watching the replay and doing the homework and really going all in on it. That would be a sneaky way that you are resisting abundance. You are resisting success. You're resisting the very thing that you're saying that you want, that you're watching other people have, and you want more of it. You're blocking receiving true, genuine, proven, actionable advice from me. That's wild. Why would you do that? And if we peel that back, why would you do that? I'm afraid that if I show up and I go all in and doing it, even if it's free, that it won't work, or that there's a catch to it because you're giving something so generously. There's got to be a catch. Why would Tiffany do it for free? I've seen a lot of people comment on the ads that we're running for this, like, well, why would you do it for free? And it's like, it's interesting, right? It goes back to the receiving. Like, if it's too good to be true, then it is. No, some things are just what they are, and this is also me building goodwill and building my audience. It's not like I don't get anything out of it, right? And I am also launching Selling with Soul, my signature program. I only put out once a year during it, but not before I give you the goods, because that's how I build trust with my people. Is I set myself apart from other people in this like business coaching, business expert space, is because it's not a sales fest. I actually do practice the law of reciprocity, where you give and therefore you then receive. But you are not going to receive my overgivers, no matter how much you give, if you do not make peace, if you do not heal that wounded part of you that feels some type of way around receiving. Ask yourself the very thing you want. Let's just say it's money, because money is such a powerful energy that charges people up. And therefore we can kind of see where these energies are inside your body. Okay, so you go and launch something, your next launch, your next offer, you talk about it, and you get more people applying to work with you, more people signing up, more people buying your thing, more house listings, more client consults, more people excited to pay you, invoices coming in left and right, Stripe and PayPal cha-chinging all the time. Okay. How does that feel to your nervous system? Does it feel scary? Because I know what comes up for some of my clients. They'll say, well, what if I can't deliver? I have all these people and I can't deliver. What if I upset people? What if I can't help give them the results that I say I'm going to get them? And it feels then they're going to want their money back. They're going to complain. I'm going to get canceled. So you're saying all the stuff you want. You're wanting the money. You're wanting the business growth, but you're also resisting receiving it at the same time. Both can be happening simultaneously. And I'm telling you it is, because I gave you the example of me. It's happening in the area of support with me, which I'm doing a lot of healing work in order to remove this bug from my system. And because it's happening in the support area, of course it's happening in the wealth area. Of course it's preventing my growth. It's causing all sorts of problems. In fact, you not doing this work around receiving is the most costly and expensive thing that you'll do in your life, because you'll continue to spin your wheels. You'll continue to be in the hamster wheel. So here are some practical shifts for you to repair this relationship with receiving. And I want you to start this immediately. You need to practice receiving with yourself first. That's going to feel the safest, right? Because you're in control of yourself. So instead of practicing receiving from another person, I want you to start with you. Give yourself more of what you're wanting. You're wanting an upgraded lifestyle, then I want you to do things that feel abundant to you. Take a luxurious bath. Do an elevated skincare routine. Give yourself more time to be able to have slow mornings or go on a walk. Yes, some of this stuff you are going to have to actually actively create and not just have it plop on your lap, because it's not going to plop on your lap because you've not given it to yourself first. Haven't you heard relationship experts say you're not going to attract that ideal partner you want if you're not embodying the qualities that you're wanting to receive? You're not going to. You need to embody those qualities yourself first in order to attract that. So it's the same situation when it comes to receiving. I need you to speak nicer to yourself. I need you to compliment yourself and mean it. And it's going to feel really uncomfortable at first. I need you to give yourself the love that you're wanting. I need you to show more appreciation for the abundance that you do have, the clients that you have, the money that you have, because the more you show that appreciation, that's going to start repairing the energy around receiving. It's safe for me to receive more of this because it feels so good to have what I have now. I do love what I have now. Of course I want more. Of course I welcome more. But what I do have feels safe. And I need you to keep reinforcing that. It is safe for me to have what I have now. Therefore, it's safe for me to have more of this. You could be making $40,000 a year, $100,000, $500,000. It's all relative. What you have now, you already have, you already use it. It affords you to buy certain things in a certain lifestyle. So having more of it doesn't mean you're going to have to trade more of yourself. It just doesn't. So practice that with yourself first. And then when someone is complimenting you, when someone is noticing something about you, when someone is even sharing their appreciation for advice that you've given them or a recommendation that you gave them, instead of you saying shit like, oh, no big deal, no problem. You don't need to thank me. This is nothing for me. That's all you brushing off receiving, brushing off receiving. Instead, pause. Even if you're counting in your head 1,000, 2, 1,000, and say, you know what? Thank you. That feels really good to receive that appreciation. I get messages from you guys regularly when you DM me, which I love reading your DMs, and it is me reading them. It's not a chat bot at ProjectME with Tiffany, just for the record. And you will say things about an episode like, Tiffany, you have no idea how much I needed to hear that. I've been wondering what was the sticking point. I couldn't figure out what was in my way, and this was the thing, which I'm hoping this episode and this series is going to do for you, so you know where to put your efforts in terms of healing, because we can't repair what we're not aware of. And part of my job here with this podcast is to bring awareness to something in a way that you can receive it and help give you some direction on how you can start repairing it. So getting beautiful messages like that. If I didn't write back, That's blocking receiving in its own way, right? So I make a point of taking it in and I will write back. And some of you listening know this from me writing you back, where I'll say, you know what? That was so beautiful to wake up to. Thank you so much for this message. It means a lot to me. Say what it really does mean for you. Don't brush it off. Take it in. Allow it to feel good. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first. It might feel unfamiliar at first. It might feel cringy at first, but then it's going to become normal, which is part of my normalization manifestation technique. And then it's going to feel good. It's got to go through the stages before it feels like really, really good and you really take it in. And I'm there with a lot of things in my life, but you hit different levels too. So some of you are good to a certain extent, you know, with an amount of money, with an amount of visibility, with an amount of receiving support, compliments, and love and whatnot. But then you end up hitting a ceiling with it because you're meant to expand, because abundance is infinite. It only gets to be better and better and more and more. But what our brains tell us, especially if you have a damaged operating system, is that more equals more is required from me. More equals more sacrifice. More equals more pain. More equals more drama, more chaos, more headaches. And that does not need to be true. It will be true if you continue to feed into that narrative, and then you'll just keep creating and attracting circumstances that are a self-fulfilling prophecy for you to go, see, you know, like the whole line of more money, more problems. It's not true. I need to do a separate video on this alone, like on TikTok. It's not true. And I couldn't have said that for a lot of my life because I didn't have enough money to really speak to it. I have enough money. I have millions stacked in the bank. I have enough cash. It's not like I'm tens of millions, but I will be soon. But I have enough stack where I can tell you it is not more problems. In fact, it's a lot fucking better. You want to be rich. You want freedom level wealth. You know, a lot of these cliche sayings, there's truth to it, but there's also context to it. And for some people, more money is more problems because that's what they believe to be true, because they feel so uncomfortable and even guilty and even shameful for receiving that kind of abundance and that kind of wealth and that kind of money that they create drama and problems to go with it in order to kind of justify them being able to get that payoff. I used to do that when I was starting my first business, and I started like bringing in the cash, and I was making more than I'd ever made before in my corporate job. I thought that I had to work my ass to the bone in order to get that. Like I was only worthy of that abundance if I paid the piper for it. Well, of course I thought that way. That's what I was programmed and taught from my childhood. You want anything. You want love, you want clothes, you want attention, you want to have your basic needs met. You are going to have to trade your mind, body, and soul literally in order to get it. And so then I recreated that. And that is not what abundance is. Abundance is free. Abundance is flowing. I'm not saying you sit back in financial and spiritual entitlement and that it just comes to you. That's on the opposite end of the spectrum. That's unhealthy in a different way. But you do the best that you can on any given day. You have to trust that that's more than enough. And part of doing your best is allowing yourself to relish and delight in the God-given abundance that was bestowed on all of us, whether it be from the beautiful tree that you see on your street to the ocean I'm looking at now, from your partner who does a generous act of like cleaning the dishes or just making you feel safe, from Chubb's licking my feet right now while I'm talking to you guys and trying to not get distracted. That abundance is, we all get to delight and relish in that, and it's safe too, but it's only going to feel safe the more you practice it. So you are going to practice really being present when you receive from other people and even receiving from yourself or even a stranger. I had someone offer to do my grocery stack at the store today, which in LA, there's lots of weird rules around the bagging here in LA. And every grocery store is different. And it's very confusing. And I made the assumption that my groceries were going to get bagged because I just, that is, I thought what we paid for. And that, I guess, is not a guarantee at this particular store. And I go, oh my gosh, I apologize for assuming that. I guess I thought that was part of the service. And I was asked, would you like help with your groceries and bagging them? And I thought about my ego side, my wounded side, the bug in my operating system wanted to go, nah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it. We're all good. And instead, I counted 1,000, 2, 1,000. I go, that would be lovely and so appreciated. Now, I sat there and I felt a little uncomfortable receiving that gesture because I was like, God, I don't want to seem like I'm high maintenance. And I guess that's not a thing here where they don't bag your groceries. And now am I that like annoying person? Da, 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 da. And I went, no, they offered. That's on them. If they offered and they didn't mean it, that's not my side of the street to be worried about. That's their side of the street. So when someone is offering to help you with something, when someone is shouting out your business, someone is wanting to write a review, someone is doing you a favor, offers, whenever someone offers to help someone move, I'm always like, this is a solid fucking person. And it's not our business if you're like, God, who wants to help someone move? Or in LA and other cities too, like Miami, Atlanta, New York. Someone is offering to drive you to the airport in a lot of these cities. Wow, that's insane. I don't offer to drive anyone to the airport. I will absolutely call an Uber and even pay for your Uber, but I will not offer to put myself through that. If someone is offering, that's their responsibility. You have to trust that it's coming for fun or for free and it's not an agenda. You might find out they had an agenda and then you don't need to receive from that person anymore in that way. But at least trust at first note it's for fun or for free and it's not your problem if it's not. If then they start trying to pick your brain on the way to the airport or they're wanting gas money or whatever, it is not your responsibility when someone has offered to give. So remember what is yours and what is someone else's, and that'll really help you be able to be present in relishing and delighting in the abundance instead of pushing it away and some of you shoving it away. So if you're feeling stuck in your business, your relationships, financial growth, it is not about doing more. It's likely not about working harder. It's about shifting your energy of receiving. And this is now your opportunity to expand your capacity for more and become truly aligned with the abundance you desire. So we have on Thursday, you're going to have part 2, which is receiving without resistance and rewiring your worth for wealth. So you want to make sure you subscribe so you do not miss the episode. Make sure you go and sign up for 3 days to make bank online. All right. Only time I do it all year. ProjectMeWithTiffany.com/make bank. Swipe up all the things to access me, my Instagram, my TikTok, our special email community, the Secret Posse Weekly Digest. That's also free. All that good stuff is inside the show notes and in the description here on Project Me TV on YouTube. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you.